Getting ready for your first draft as a head coach, I'm sure it's exciting, but what has the process been like for you?
It's been an awesome process to be with the coaching staff, to be with our personnel department, and to really dive into players and share our football philosophy in all three phases of the game, and really trying to create our identity as a team, and then partner up with our personnel staff. It's been awesome. It's been a really thorough process, and as a coach, there's nothing better than talking about players.
Yeah.
And so it's an exciting process for us, and one that I've really enjoyed.
What's been different for you this year in terms of your role now as a head coach in comparison to maybe years past when you've been a position coach or defensive coordinator?
Well, I think last year I had a really good opportunity to be in charge of one side of the ball and collaborating with Sean, Les, Kevin, that group, Brad Holmes. I think it was such a valuable process going into this year into the head coaching role. It feels a lot more like when I was in college, where you're kind of in charge of selecting the players that are going to be a part of your team. So I think the big thing is just connecting all three phases of the game in order to create a true football philosophy. And so we've just been really able to establish our way of playing, and I think that we've been able to identify the players that we feel like will fit us well.
Have you made any phone calls, sought any advice from anyone else around the league who's maybe been a first-time head coach before?
Yeah, there have been a lot of good calls. I think that's one of the things that's special about the NFL is the fraternity of coaches. And I think there's several guys that have been gracious with their time, but the big thing is it's about competition. So I think those calls can only go so far. But I think ultimately what I've tried to do since I've been here these first 3 months is really lean into the people in this organization and really make this about us. And I've been really pleased with how it's gone so far.
Brandon Staley is a rising star, there's no question.
Super intelligent.
Has a ton of respect around the league.
With Tom, you two had to get on the same page very quickly, but how has that collaboration process been?
Really seamless. I feel like it's been really natural from the beginning. I felt like when I first interviewed with the team, I felt that chemistry, and I felt like we had a shared vision of how to run a team, and that's so important, that there's not two independent worlds that are living with one another. The way we see football, and just in terms of how to lead, how to teach, what we're looking for in a team, how to build a team on both sides of the ball in the kicking game, I think it fit really well. So we've been able to get, I think, somewhere fast because of that.
When you talk about building a team, how exciting is it, though, to be able to pick players that are going to help usher this foundation that you're now laying? Yeah,
I think it's so important, because one of the responsibilities you have as a leader is who you bring into your organization, and it's a really, I think, sacred responsibility. We take it obviously really seriously, and when you partner up with a personnel department who that is their livelihood, is spending 365 days a year evaluating these players, sometimes over the course of 2 years.
Yeah.
These are really big decisions, but they're also really fun decisions because you get to make the choice. And so I've really enjoyed it. There's nothing better to me than watching players, and it's exciting because when you're trying to create something, you're partnering up with people that you believe in, and I think that's always really exciting as a coach.
Besides making that choice, what else has been really fun about this process for you?
Well, I think the big thing is getting to be around our team for the first time this week. I think that's made the draft process even more exciting, because I have a visual of what our guys look like. We haven't been able to be together in person, but even over Zoom, you've been able to start to do football together. And I think that for me has been by far the highlight of being a head coach in these first 3 months, is finally being with the team, and we've been able to have a good couple days together, and I think that makes next week even more exciting.
How does the draft and sort of the draft process sort of balance out with what this team has done in free agency already?
Yeah, I think that's the big thing about free agency is establishing value, and I think that's what we accomplished. I think we were really able to accomplish and execute our plan. We wanted to be a bigger team up front. We accomplished that with the players that we acquired, and certainly their experience, but also the level of production, and then they fit the type of character, the competitive character that we want to have on this football team. And so we were really judicious and selective in that process, but it's going to allow us to be even better come the draft time, because we're going to truly be able to take the players that we feel like are best in those spots.
You mentioned competitive character, but what are some other qualities that you look for in guys that you want to be part of this team?
Yeah, I really think that you got to look at their makeup overall, and that can be shaped in a lot of different ways, because ultimately this is such a competitive place. and you're looking for competitors, and then you're looking for guys that can do the job well. And I think that sometimes that's lost too. You gotta remember what's being asked of these guys every Sunday or whenever we play. And so you gotta fit those two things together, all the position critical factors, but then their makeup. Are these guys that you're gonna wanna partner up with in these big games, these big moments when all this is at stake? Because, you know, we're around each other a lot, and are you gonna have that type of trust and that type of relationship that can stand the test of time?
And then lastly, Brandon, what can you say about the importance of building a roster through the draft in terms of sustainability throughout the year and seasons to come?
I think that's such a big point, because you have to think so long term.
Yeah.
When you build something, it can't be for right now as much as you would hope maybe you could. You got to have a long-term vision. You have to build with young players. So much about football, it's a developmental game. I really believe that as a coach. When you take these guys, it's not where they are right now in 2021. Sometimes you got to close your eyes and what are they going to be like in 2022? And knowing that these guys are going to get a lot better and having a vision for how that's going to happen. And so Tom, myself, our coaching staff, John and Dean Spanos, like we share that vision on how to do it. And that's what I'm really excited about next week, to kind of start our process of building something long term.
We're excited too. Best of luck.
Thank you, Hayley.